Nirmal and Madhavi, thank you so much for joining us in this next edition of the Fire Up Startup Interview Series. We're trying to talk to all different startups, and every startup has had some experiences and would have figured something out. So we just want to get that aspect that the startup has figured out and then share it with the larger community. So you've been in the healthcare space trying to bring AI-powered solutions to the healthcare space. And this intersection doesn't happen often. I'm sure you would have realized also. The healthcare world doesn't understand technology, and the technology world doesn't understand healthcare. And so the key thing is the middle. And one of the most significant challenges is like in spotting those possibilities, where AI can solve, and understanding of what technology is today and what it can solve, and a problem worth solving from the healthcare side. That, I think, if you do that, that's probably half the job done. And then, of course, comes the other half, which is as difficult, is to actually build it. But spotting the opportunity is very, very critical, not easy at all. So that's what we're going to be talking. So before we get started, so Nirmal, why don't you just quickly, next few minutes, just describe your journey. I mean, how do you decide to start Aided? What are the motivation? And then what's happened so far since you started Aided?
Okay. So basically, we founded our company, Alpha Mu Software Technologies, 3 years back. But we were into other software-related services and products. But for the past a couple of years, I have been associated with a couple of schools and preschools within the city, Hyderabad mainly, where I keep hearing that there are a lot of these children coming in for admissions with special needs. But unfortunately, the schools are not equipped to support the children with special needs. So hence they are rejecting or not able to get them admitted in the school system. So that's when it got me thinking. Okay, and with the volume that I've been hearing, then I understood that the need is huge. These children with special needs need some kind of help, as they are not able to be a part of the mainstream. So hence me and Pradeep, about 1.5 years back, we thought, okay, why not do something in this space that can actually support these children and parents, the entire ecosystem, where we can leverage artificial intelligence or machine learning models, where we can take the help of the enormous amount of data that is available in India and actually build some software ecosystem which can actually support these children. And probably get the necessary help even for schools to support these children. Hence me and Pradeep got together, and 1.5 years back we started Aided, and we have another Aided and Kidsens as well, because each one has its own different products. I'll start out with Kidsens. With Kidsens, we wanted to first screen children. So the first step in actually helping out these children is to identify that there is a innate problem, and because there is not enough awareness in India currently, and there is no government steady government support as well in terms of identifying and getting the help needed for special needs children and parents, and there is lack of awareness as well in this area. Most of the parents with young children between the ages of 1.5 to 6 years are mostly unaware that their children has some neurodevelopmental challenges, and if there are some neurodevelopmental challenges, how do we get the help required? And some even think, okay, these are just temporary and they will just go away with age. So they kind of delay the timing, which is very crucial to get the help required for special needs children. So we thought, okay, first we need to bring out a product which will actually identify and screen children within the ages of 1.5 to 6 as early as possible, in fact. So a preschool age. If we can screen them and actually identify children with developmental challenges, we can actually get them the help at a very early stage, which will have maximum impact. And research shows if a child is identified at early stage with early intervention, there is a chance of 60 to 70% of recovery, or we can even prevent most of the symptoms to even show up. So I'll probably ask Ms. Madhavi also to add a little bit on that, since she has 20 years of experience in this field. So
yeah, Madhavi.
Yeah. So in my last 20 years of experience, I've observed a couple of things. Being a parent, I have a son who's 21 years old and who has autism. That's how my journey with special needs started. And I grew and learned with him. And I had to leave the country for a few years to get help for him. And then I had to come back to India. That's how I thought, okay, I mean, I never wanted to live in any other country except India. But because of my son's special needs, I had to relocate to the UK to get help. Came back to India, found out that situation is still the same after so many years. Decided to quit my corporate job and I started Ananya in 2007. And Ananya has been working with children with special needs in early intervention space. And a lot of schools, they give admission to children with special needs without knowing that they have special needs, because when a child is 1.5 or the child is going to a toddler group, the teacher doesn't know if they have mild difficulties or that there are difficulties. They will give admission and they don't know what to do with the child after the child is diagnosed with special needs. Second is, sometimes children with special needs are given admission knowingly that okay, we will take the child, but it ends with admission. They don't know how to support the child. So lack of awareness, lack of training, lack of understanding of special needs is a big problem in our country. And we have been working with schools to support these children who are already in the school system. A lot of schools say, can you take this child away to your center? I don't want to run a parallel school. I want all children to go to one school. They need to be included and they need to be supported in this under this, in the same building, basically. So when I met Nirmal, I was thinking, why are we not using technology to do something about it? Why are we not equipping the schools to do the developmental monitoring of children periodically within the school itself, using some kind of a screening method? Right now, the schools only do the scoring and give reports about their academic performance. They are not giving their developmental reports. Usually, in countries like the UK and the US, there's something called well baby visits. Every few months, the mothers take the child till the child reaches 6 years. Every few months, they go to a pediatrician or a developmental psychologist to check their child's progress. And if there is a delay, immediately, the whole thing triggers and they get help on time. Whereas in India, usually parents visit doctors only when the child is sick. And when the child is sick, the child is always cranky and the doctor can't tell why is the child cranky, why is the child not answering questions, whatever. So usually we use doctor services here only for medical health related concerns. Whereas neurological development is hardly ever a pediatrician's concern, so to say, because they have so many patients waiting. They actually have about 5 minutes for each child. Usually a neurodevelopmental kind of assessment takes about an hour. And I don't find doctors having that kind of a time to do the screening. I think it is a school's responsibility in a way to make sure that all children who are coming to school, they are developmentally also reaching the milestones. If not, we need to work with the parents, making sure that they get the help on time. So Kidsens actually is a is a tool, is an AI based tool that helps schools screen children between 0 to 6 years. We are starting preschools of 1.5 toddler group till 6 years, developmentally track them and give them periodic reports, so that parents are also getting a developmental report along with an academic report as to how the child is performing in school. So it's not a diagnostic tool, but it's a screening tool. So yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
So now the problem is a multi-layer problem.
Yeah.
There's a whole human angle involved. There are like teachers, parents, like the broader society and the child itself. But how did you spot the opportunity for AI in this? Like where you thought, like, I mean, there could have been any kind of IT system that can help. I know there are solutions. There are just simple mobile apps that can help. But how did you spot the need for AI in the solution? I mean, in this problem.
Okay, so basically, currently, whatever tool is available in the market to support children with special needs, everything is a trial and error method. Nothing is evidence-based. Very few are evidence-based methods. How do we get an evidence-based method? By leveraging the data. And where do we have the data? India is one of the best country to get the data, because we have almost millions of children here within the age of 0 to 6 years. So we thought if we can actually get enough data out of the school system, then we will be able to build an ML model on top of our existing screening method to actually improve our screening system, as well as help our other products that are in the pipeline to support the children with special needs. Do you need? Are you looking at much more detail?
Yeah, a little bit more
Yeah.
into where do you spot.
Actually,
I can understand how AI can help.
yeah, I was thinking that, I mean, when I met Nirmal, I thought I could use Nirmal and Pradeep's the technology understanding and my subject matter expertise, because I've met hundreds and hundreds of parents over these last 2 decades who are going through similar problems, and all of us are only trying to solve the problems of the 100 children that we work with in our centers. My center's capacity is 100 children. Maybe another center's capacity is 50 or 100. Usually, special needs centers cannot cater to thousands of children like schools do, because ours is very intensive work. We cannot do more than 100 children at a time. So what I thought is this is not a scalable solution. A lot of children in India cannot have access to this kind of sophisticated one-to-one personalized clinical psychologist sitting and evaluating them. Imagine, my farm is just an hour from the city. There are a couple of villages nearby, and then I have met some special children here, and I talk to them, and I find out, your child could have helped long ago. Why did they don't know where to go for help? The school doesn't have any knowledge. The teacher just thinks that the child is whatever. Special needs means they usually don't do anything with the child. They just let the child be in the class, and the teachers are not equipped to do. Parents are clueless as to what help is available. I think with the use of technology and AI, if we can empower the schools to screen children on time and flag the parents to get help. With Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan and all, government is trying to reach, but that's again manual. There's no technology used. And if I, for instance, go to the CM and ask him how many children with autism are there in our state, he has no number. And first of all, Indian government doesn't even know how many people with autism are there in India. So with technology in place, we can have the numbers that we are looking for, so that we can provide solutions. Currently, we are working on with adults in my clinic. We don't know how many adults with autism are there in India. What challenges the parents are facing. I think if we do the schools, if we work with the schools, and if we can get the data in and find out in each school how many children are delayed, how many boys, how many girls, what is their economic background, I think government can do a lot more with that kind of a data and give solutions than individuals trying to solve 100 children's problem at a time. So it's a scalable solution. Yeah.
Nirmal, you were going to say something?
So also to add it, why we wanted to go the AI route, right? So one of the reason is actually, like I said, we want to bring in the evidence-based practice rather than a trial and error. That's actually in place right now. And for an evidence-based practice to actually work, we need to use we need to leverage deep technologies. And that's one of the reasons.
The challenge with any AI solution is the data. So the problem starts with identifying a use case which you've already identified. You said this is a use case where, like Madhavi also said, personal service is not easy and very time consuming and not scalable. So personal service is still required, but technology can help at least broaden the reach. And it's very personalized, so you have to learn from other children and also from this child in person itself.
True.
So the case is clear. Now, how did you identify? Because if you go with AI, first thing is you need to have the data.
Right.
So how do you identify that there was sufficient data available?
Like I said, almost every child in their developing age, that is 0 to 6 years, needs developmental screening. So, and I think currently in India, at any given point, I think we will have it. At the least, I think there are about 20 lakh children who are in the cities currently. I'm not talking even about the BNC centers. There are 20 lakh children between the ages of 0 to 6 within the metropolitan cities in India. And we thought, first let's target that, because there is ease of, parents are more aware in metropolitan cities compared to the other smaller areas. So even if we can leverage 1% out of it, or even 5% out of it, we will have enough data where we can actually refine our process. The screening, currently there are existing screening.
That is the macro, that is at some level same, because there's availability, but but that's easier said than done. What is the source of data? Where are you going to get this data?
Preschools. Preschools is our target market.
But are the schools willing to give this data?
So I think I'll
Yes.
have Miss Madhavi.
Yeah. So what we've actually spoken to school. I've been training again a lot of school teachers, preschool teachers, to spot these children in the classroom if they're showing any symptoms of delays. So this is mostly, and the teachers, if they're interested, they will probably have a look, and then they'll tell the parent, and the parent might or may not take it seriously and do anything about the information that the teacher has shared. And the teacher does not have the capability to give a written report to the parent saying that there is this particular delay in your child. So what has been happening is the parent comes and tells me that my teacher has never told me, and the teacher comes and tells me that parents don't listen to me when I tell them that there is a problem here with your child. So we thought, and I spoke to the principals and I said, if we develop a product like this and we want to work on it and refine it, will you be allowing me into your preschool classrooms and do the screenings with your children? And we were not charging anything for doing the screening, and we were using the Kidsens app to do the screening for. We were training the teachers first, and then we were using the app in the preschools, keeping all the confidentiality in place. We told the schools that we will not use children's names. We just want to see how the developmental patterns are in the preschool. We don't want their parents' names. We don't want their phone numbers. We just want children's assessments to be done, and we have developed some kind of a method where everything can be kept confidential. The schools don't have to feel threatened by our presence in their classrooms. So we have actually made so many schools sign up with us. We were supposed to finish our data collection by the end of April before the schools closed, and all this thing happened and we had to stop the data collection, but schools are more than happy to give us the data.
So this is
Yes.
primary data, but have you looked at other source of data? But often there may be some source of data on the internet because you have to train your models. Have you looked at other data that was available already? Even if not,
like I said, there is not much data available
No
in this
data.
space.
There's no data available.
International level, the studies done in this area have largely depended on a study group of 1,000 children, 2,000 children. That's the largest
Maximum.
number that they've dealt with.
Yeah.
So currently we are scheduled within Hyderabad to screen at least 1,000 to 2,000 children in the next couple of months. If not for COVID crisis, we would have done that by now. So imagine the kind of data we will be getting just with Hyderabad, because I think we contacted about 5 schools so far, and every school was welcoming us with open arms. Not one school has was apprehensive about letting us in, because there was a need.
So here you're looking at models now. By collecting this data, you develop the baseline models. What is a normal development look like?
Yeah.
And then from there figure out the anomalies.
Yes, because we are collecting data of even regular children, not only special needs children. We are collecting data of all the children.
Yeah. Actually, Ramesh, the thing is, every classroom will have at least about 20% of children who have developmental delays, which are never diagnosed in every classroom all over the world. That's the standard. Okay. So even in Indian classrooms here in Hyderabad, for instance, the schools that we have been to, preschools, actually initial data that we have collected for those few hundred children, they're seeing the same pattern. About 20% of children are showing developmental delays. In the so-called typically developing children who don't have any diagnosis of special needs will have some delay or the other, and then it just goes unnoticed, So we are actually bringing all these children who are even they are very minor delays, and these can be helped sometimes at school and sometimes with the parents' help also. They don't really need a specialist help, but at least the parents will now know that there is this delay and this child needs this kind of help at home or at school. Yeah.
And then how do you build the models to actually detect the children with special needs?
We already have without even leveraging AI, we have a screening method to screen children or flag children with developmental delays.
Okay.
And a combination of the delays will give us, a kind of a hint that the child might be at risk for autism. The child might be at risk for ADHD. So if left alone without intervention, this child has higher probability of, getting diagnosed with autism probably in a year or 2 years down the line. So that is what our screening app is doing currently, that we will flag with our existing screening method in place. We don't need AI for it. But with AI, what we feel is we can make our screening even more efficient, even more the predictability even higher, and even with fewer questions. So currently we are testing on a broad range of psychometric details. what if we can actually
Actually,
concise them?
we are actually trying to the current app that we have developed with all the questions uh, for uh, for screening children. We are also comparing the results that we are getting with the app to the standardized developmental scales like developmental profile 3, which is used all over the world to track children's development in that age group. And we are trying to compare the results of our app to the results that the DP3 gives. And we want to make sure that the results that both the apps are, I mean, the app and the DP3 is giving match. That's how we have to tweak our app so that it can be relied upon, it can be depended upon, you know, to be, because we don't want, when we are working with children, we need to be extremely careful. We don't want to flag, we don't want to have false negatives, false positives, you know. So we are still tweaking, and we are still, that's, the data will help us in that, actually, to fine tune that.
That's fantastic. So before we sign off, Nirmal, if you can share, sorry, Nirmal, you going to say something?
We have actually launched one more product during this COVID crisis. It's an online therapy platform where we are connecting experts from all over the world to the children, you know, that needs help. Again, all over the world, like, you know, mostly, but we are currently targeting India. But the idea is a good expert availability is very limited even in this generation, unfortunately. Something like someone like Miss Madhavi, the availability of such institutions in and around even Hyderabad, or even you know, other parts of the country where you know, parents are unaware, as well as, you know, even if they are aware, they're not able to get the help required for their children. So we have launched an online platform called Kidsens Connect, where we want to connect these children who don't have access to therapy to experts all over the world and get them the help required. So, you know, that's one solution that we quickly came up with. And also we are adding another module to it very soon to kind of make it much more cost efficient, because again, a current therapeutic regime costs, you know, pretty pocket breaking for many average Indians. So we are also coming up with a solution to reduce the impact on the, you know, economic impact on these parents. So that's our second product. Yeah.
No, sounds very interesting. I know it's a very, very strong social angle in this solution. So we wish you all the best. But before we sign off, Nirmal, from your experiences as an entrepreneur, can you just share one growth hack tip? We're getting a growth hack tip from every startup. So can you share one growth hack tip from your experiences that you would share with?
I think the one thing that out of my experience, what I can give is, I think partnering or collaborating with the right people at the right time will really, you know, enhance or, you know, speed up your you know, product, whether it be product development or getting to market. In our case, partnering with Ms. Madhavi has been the best thing that has happened. Like, you know, having a domain expert with 20 years experience really, you know, took us onto a different level altogether. So I think our goal to a success is probably collaborating with the, you know, with the right people at the right time.
I think makes a lot of sense. It's very evident here. It's not easy to get somebody like this, like Madhavi, engaged. So, and being part of the startup itself is even more so.
True.
I think it's a fantastic tip. Thank you so much, Nirmal, Madhavi, for taking the time.
Thank you so much.
Joining us today, and all the best rest of your journey. And it's a very noble space to be in. Any help, I think, will be extremely helpful to the society. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you so much.